Hello, I am very excited today because I'm going to be making a little animation. 2 videos ago, I joked that I was going to make a boring video about free will, but obviously I was never going to do that. Instead, I'm going to be making a super interesting and fun video about free will. Have you heard the quote, "I am not what I am, and I am what I am not," by Jean-Paul Sartre? It's such philosophical clickbait. He's trying to swindle you into reading his work because he knows that doesn't make any sense. So I'm telling you right now that I am not an animator, and not in the sense that I actually am an animator, but in the sense that I am really not an animator. But we are gathered here today to change that. Whenever I watch any animated show or movie, I'm always filled with the inspiration and hubris that I can someday, after an absurd amount of practice, create something of that caliber. At the same time, I have always been too intimidated or lacked motivation to start. But today I am taking the first step. I did download Blender and I'm learning how to use that, but I am also nowhere near being able to work the grease pencil yet, so I'm just gonna be making a simple animation on Procreate where you draw every frame, and I'm using a video of myself from a few years ago as a reference. Because I've never animated before, I think that it's within my right to take some screenshots from the video and just trace over them. I'm making these little stick figures so that I can see the motion. I'm not going to be animating myself, I have an OC in mind, so yeah, I'm just going to trace on a bunch of stick figures first. Also, I'll probably post this video a bit later than I usually do. That's because this is the second video that I filmed this week. I just pushed the one that I did before because I just got really inspired by this thing that I read. Yeah, existentialism sometimes gets a bad reputation because the guys who were existentialists were absolutely miserable in every other way. They didn't believe in God or having a purpose. And Sartre has this really famous essay called Being and Nothingness, where he just goes on and on and on about forlornness and anguish. So this essay, Existentialism, is framed as a response to critics of existentialism, where he's like, people say it's too pessimistic, but I swear it's really a good thing because the view is that God isn't real and therefore we have no purpose. That is good because then we make our own purpose. Our ability to make choices and act with integrity is what makes life meaningful. So when Jean-Paul says, "I am not what I am, and I am what I am not," he's saying we are defined by what we make of ourselves. Tiny disclaimer is that I am only a student on the topic and I'm always a little scared that I'm misrepresenting the information because I'm not an expert, but at the same time, man's greatest flaw is his hubris, and I'm no greater than any man. I highly recommend that everyone reads The Death of Ivan Illich. It's about this guy, Ivan, who dies. It is a long and painful process of him dying. He thought that he was happy. In death, he realizes that he was just going through the motions. And the happiness that he had was the happiness that he wanted, but in death, he realizes it wasn't true happiness, which he thinks of now as just a memory from his boyhood. The last few pages of this are particularly devastating. I linked it below in case you want to find out for yourself. But you know what true happiness is? Look at these little stick figures doing the little peace signs. I made that, bro. I'm going to introduce you now to the OC that I'm animating. Her name is Ziggy. This is her as a little girl, but I went to the trouble of making her a modeling shoot, which I obviously got a little bit bored of. What could I do? Finish it? No, there's no reason. You're not gonna see the backside of her, it's fine. Here are 3 things that I know about Ziggy. She's a Libra, she likes bugs, and in her universe she is a nepotism baby, which is why she has the chains and the gold earrings and a shirt that says princess. It's, ironic or whatever. Quick shout out to my parents, by the way. Apparently my father felt personally offended by my choice to give my last OC daddy issues. So, I'm here to apologize most insincerely though, because maybe if you had figured out how to subscribe to my channel yet, Dad, we wouldn't be here. Ugh, it's I'm obviously way more normal than any of my OCs. Plus, it's not everything is about you, Dad. Except for the fact that I'm an existentialist. That is definitely your fault. I mean, if you really think about it, existentialism is the ultimate girl boss philosophy. It's I am out here, I'm taking action, and I am making purpose, which obviously made me want to learn how to animate because just thinking about wanting to learn how to animate had become a little bit part of my routine. wishing that someday I would have this opportunity to learn and the time would just open up for me to practice. You know, like, I enjoyed this fantasy, so I didn't ever act, but that also sucks because this little itch in my brain was becoming a habit. And it's like, if you're gonna be thinking about it that much, take matters into your own hands. So this is your sign. If there's something that you've been thinking to yourself a lot, but you're not really sure if it's the right move, but you keep thinking about maybe doing it, this is your sign. Do the thing. Sorry, just imagine that on like a mug in Home Goods with that god-awful Ray Dunn font. I have been thinking about maybe just making a video on how much I hate the Ray Dunn font. It actually drives me insane. But enough of me being a hater. Let's move on to the line art. I sort of already did, but this part took the longest. I'm pretty sure I actually didn't like keep track or anything, but I got this idea that I was gonna like clean up the line work and make it look really nice. I decided not to do that because then I would literally never post this video because I would get tired and I would just like miss this week's upload, which would be sad for me. And even sadder for you. Yeah, I left it rough. Ultimately, this animation took me like 10 hours, I think, which is a decent chunk of time. Yeah, look at that. Gross. So yeah, you'll see that I give up on this like clean line work and I go back to the sketchy stuff, which honestly I think it's nice, especially for my first animation. Also, even though this took me 10 hours, this video footage was so repetitive that I cut most of it out, and so this video is going to be less than 10 minutes long. So I'm curious to see how it performs. If this is the first video that you see of my channel, I would really be curious, so leave me a comment. Or if you're a returning subscriber, leave me a comment. I just want more comments, you guys. I'm gonna be so upfront with you. Like, not to be that person that just like begs for interaction, but I kind of just like want more comments. Why not? Just say a little something. Say something mean. Be a hater in the comments. Or say something really nice. I'll probably cry. I will conclude with a quote from Jean-Paul Sartre. There is no reality except in action. Man is nothing else than his plan. He exists only to the extent that he fulfills himself. He is therefore nothing else than the ensemble of his acts, nothing else than his life. Now that I'm editing this, it has occurred to me that I've just spent the last 8 minutes trying to convince you to YOLO. Like this whole video is just like a long-winded YOLO. Go ahead and smash that like button if you only live once. And guys, you're the subjects of your own lives. Go be what you are not. For example, if you're not subscribed, be a subscriber. Duh. And I'll be back next week. I'll be back in 5 days. Okay, talk to you later. Bye-bye.